Pittsburgh Steelers might just be closer than ever to landing a true replacement for George Pickens. It all started with what seemed like just another off-season rumor, one of those names that pop up in local media and spark a little buzz before disappearing into the void of speculation. But this one feels different. The name that's lighting up the city right now? Chris Olave. And if you're a Steelers fan, your ears probably perked up the moment you heard it. It all began when Chris Olave's name was casually mentioned on Pittsburgh sports radio. Now, if you've been around long enough, you know this dance. A big name receiver gets thrown into the mix, everyone gets excited, and then nothing. The hype dies down, the deal never materializes, and we all move on until the next name comes up. But not this time. Because shortly after that on-air mention, we started getting actual reports confirming that the Steelers have indeed reached out to the Saints. That's not just smoke anymore. That's a real spark. Apparently, Pittsburgh made a call to New Orleans to ask about Olave's availability. Now, from what's been reported, this wasn't some aggressive trade negotiation. It was more of a due diligence kind of inquiry. But even that says a lot. The Steelers aren't wasting time kicking tires on just anybody. If they're calling about Chris Olave, it's because they're seriously exploring what it would take to make it happen. The big question now is, how willing are the Saints to let Olave go? And that's where it gets complicated. Let's be real. Their roster isn't exactly stacked right now, and Olave is one of the few bright spots they have left at wide receiver. With the team in flux, a new offensive coordinator in Kellen Moore, and Derek Carr's future murky after his retirement buzz, it's hard to know exactly what direction New Orleans is heading. They did draft a quarterback, Spencer Schuck, in the second round, which could signal a shift toward the future. Are they ready to hit the reset button and go full rebuild mode? Or are they trying to build around Schuck and give him some real weapons for 2025? If I had to bet, I'd say they're going to try and compete, at least in their division. The NFC South is wide open. No team really feels like a dominant force there. So why not try to make a run? If that's the mindset, then trading Olave wouldn't make a ton of sense unless the return package was just too good to pass up. Because if you're trying to develop a young quarterback, the last thing you want to do is take away one of his top targets. Now, from the Steelers' perspective, a potential Olave trade makes a lot of sense. Yes, there's some risk involved, mainly due to his concussion history. He's had 4 documented concussions since entering the league, and the latest one in 2024 was serious enough to sideline him for the entire second half of the season. But even with that concern, his production has been rock solid. He's posted back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons in his first 2 years in the league, and that's while dealing with some less than stellar quarterback play. We're talking Andy Dalton, Jameis Winston, and then Derek Carr for a stretch. And last year, after Carr went down, it was Spencer Rattler stepping in, and Olave wasn't even active for much of that time. But here's the thing about Chris Olave. He's not just productive. He's a clean fit. No off-the-field drama, no locker room issues, no character concerns. He's just a football player. He's a smooth route runner with legit top-end speed, and he's versatile. You can line him up in the slot out wide, wherever you need him. He brings a level of polish that the Steelers desperately need in their receiving core right now. When you stack all that up, the production, the professionalism, the scheme fit, and weigh it against the injury risk, the math starts to favor making a move. Because even if he's missed time, when he's healthy, Olave is a difference maker. And there's one more big plus here, the contract situation. Olave is still on his rookie deal. The Saints have already picked up his 5th-year option, which means any team that trades for him has him under control for the next 2 seasons. And that 5th-year number is just over $15 million, way below market value for a top-tier receiver in today's NFL. So if you're the Steelers and you're staring at a guy who could give you elite-level production at a bargain price for 2 more years, how do you not at least explore that? And look, if he goes out and lights it up in 2025 and wants an extension, that's a good problem to have. That's what you want. The Steelers aren't afraid to pay big money to top talent. They just want to make sure the fit is right. And clearly, based on how they handled the Pickens situation, they didn't think that was the case with him. Which brings us to the trade value. Or what would it actually take to land Olave? Well, the Steelers just moved George Pickens for a 3rd round pick. And that surprised a lot of people. There were reports that Pittsburgh actually got a high-end offer there, and other teams weren't even willing to offer anything close. Some front offices apparently laughed at the idea of trading anything higher than a 6th or 7th round pick for Pickens. So if a 3rd rounder is the bar, then what's Olave worth? When you compare them side by side, Pickens and Olave are in a similar tier, at least in terms of league standing. Both were drafted in the same year. Both have shown flashes of elite potential. But Olave comes with less volatility. Pickens might be a little more durable and have a higher ceiling physically, but Olave's overall value, especially with that 5th-year option in play, is arguably higher. That said, a straight-up 3rd rounder probably wouldn't be enough to pry Olave away from New Orleans. It might take a 2nd round pick, maybe even more, depending on how many other teams get involved. The Saints don't appear to be in any rush to move him. This isn't a fire sale situation. So if the Steelers really want to get this done, they might have to step up with a stronger offer. And honestly, I'd be fine with that. If Pittsburgh ended up giving up a 2nd round pick to land a guy like Olave, I'd sign off on it in a heartbeat. Because this isn't about winning the trade on paper. It's about building an offense that can compete right now. With Aaron Rodgers likely coming in, we'll get to that in a minute, you've got a narrow window to make a real push. You need weapons. You need reliability. You need someone who can create separation, move the chains, and stretch the field. Olave gives you all of that. Of course, nothing's imminent yet. This could still end up being just another rumor that we talk about endlessly throughout the summer, only to see it fall apart when training camp rolls around. That's always a possibility. But there's just something about this one that feels different. The fit is there. The need is obvious. The timing makes sense. If the Steelers are serious about contending in 2025, this is the kind of move they have to consider. Now, as for Aaron Rodgers, yes, let's talk about it, because that's another massive domino that's just waiting to fall. That there's been a lot of speculation about where Rodgers is at mentally, physically, emotionally. Is he playing? Is he retiring? Is he dragging his feet because of personal issues? Well, we finally got a little more clarity thanks to a recent radio interview with Ian O'Connor, the author of Rodgers' biography, Out of Darkness. O'Connor didn't talk to Rodgers directly, but he's spoken to a ton of people close to him over the years, and he says the vibe he's getting is that Rodgers fully intends to play this season. The reason for the delay, according to O'Connor, is personal. Some off-the-field stuff that Rodgers needed to handle before fully committing. Nothing career-ending, nothing that would prevent him from suiting up in the fall. He just didn't want to sign with a team and then immediately miss minicamp or OTAs because of personal obligations. And honestly, that tracks with what we've seen from Rodgers over the years. Rodgers is nothing if not image conscious. He remembers the backlash he got for missing off-season work with the Jets, especially that Egypt trip that turned into a whole media circus. He doesn't want a repeat of that. So if he signs now while still dealing with some personal matters and then misses practices, it's just another round of criticism. But if he waits, gets his affairs in order, and then signs when he's fully available, problem solved. And here's the kicker. All signs point to the Steelers being the team he's going to. Not just because of the rumors, not just because of the connections, but because the Steelers themselves seem to be operating like they already know he's coming. They waited until late in the draft to address the quarterback position. They haven't made any aggressive moves for other QBs, and the chatter around Rodgers has only gotten louder. Respected voices in Pittsburgh are saying there's a 90 to 99% chance this gets done. That's not smoke, that's fire. So yeah, Rodgers to the Steelers, it's happening. Maybe not officially, not yet, but it's happening. He wants to play. The Steelers want him. The timeline is lining up. The moment his personal situation clears up, which O'Connor says should happen by the end of May, this thing should be wrapped up. And once that's done, Pittsburgh is going to look a whole lot different heading into next season. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a surprising twist that could reshape the NFL landscape, Aaron Rodgers has reportedly confirmed his move to the Pittsburgh Steelers during an exclusive interview, sparking a wave of excitement and speculation across the football world. The veteran quarterback, known for his precision passing and on-field charisma, is said to have disclosed the long-rumored transition during a closed-door conversation with a major sports outlet, though official team confirmation is still pending. Rodgers, who spent the majority of his illustrious career with the Green Bay Packers before a controversial trade to the New York Jets, has once again captured headlines with this potential new chapter. His stint with the Jets was marred by injury and limited playing time, leaving fans and analysts questioning whether he will return at full strength or consider retirement. Now, if this latest development proves true, Rodgers seems set to reinvigorate a Steelers offense that has struggled for consistency since Ben Roethlisberger's departure. The Steelers, a franchise steeped in tradition and known for their tough defense and gritty play, may have finally found the veteran leadership they've been seeking under center. Rodgers' experience, playoff pedigree, and football IQ could make Pittsburgh instant contenders in a competitive AFC North division. With weapons like George Pickens and a Najee Harris at his disposal, and under the guidance of head coach Mike Tomlin, Rodgers could thrive in a system that values discipline and balance. While fans in Pittsburgh are already buzzing at the mere suggestion of Rodgers donning the black and gold, the rest of the league is watching closely for any official confirmation. Social media exploded after the rumored interview details surfaced, with supporters dissecting every word for signs of legitimacy. Though Rodgers has long been known for keeping the media guessing, his reported statement in the interview leaves little room for doubt he's ready to write a new chapter in Steel City. If this move is finalized, it would not only reshape Pittsburgh's offense, but could also send ripple effects through the AFC playoff picture. For now, Steelers Nation waits eagerly, hoping that the whispers become reality and that a future Hall of Famer is indeed headed to Heinz Field. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.